Welcome back, guys. This is part two of a three-part series that I'm making on how I was able to peak for 3 shows across 1 month. This was the second show I did. This show was held in Montreal. It's called the Mimi Capes Classic, and it was a week after the FitLog. So coming off that high of winning, obviously it was really, really good. And my perspective on the show kind of switched. I went from, taking FitLog as a practice and then winning the overall, and then switching my mind. Okay, now Mimi Capes Classic is a practice for Toronto. And I ended up winning the overall for this one too. So I don't know what it is with that mindset, I guess. But I mean, I still give it all I have, whether I find it's practice or game day, doesn't matter to me. I give everything I got. But I think that this was one of the most stressful weeks I actually had throughout the entire prep. And I'll explain to you guys a little bit why. But yeah, so let's just dive right in. And of course, we still have the same abbreviations we had before. SP for skin prep, C for cardio, W for workout, M and E for moisturize and exfoliate, and D for diet. So at 7 days out, obviously you guys know I had the FitLog Classic. That was the Saturday, right? So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I came back from Quebec that day. I think I explained in the last video a little bit of what my eating was, but the Sunday, the day right after, day 6, I jumped right back onto the depletion diet. And we didn't spend any time kind of, celebrating or whatnot. My coach and I kind of discussed and agreed that like once all 3 shows were done, that's when we would actually take the time to celebrate. Still haven't really celebrated yet, but that's okay. On day 6, on the Sunday, I actually just exfoliated. I didn't even moisturize. And going back to what I said the last video, the tanning company says stop moisturizing at 5 days out from the show. And I mean, I just said, you know what, why not start at 6? I didn't want to just moisturize for a day if that may have had some type of negative effect. Not to mention that I also still had some tan on. I still had some tan on from FitLog that I tried to scrub away, but didn't even manage to scrub away for the show day for this show. Anyways, day 6. So we just exfoliated, cardio right back at an hour and a half. My water this time I adjusted it for 8 liters because I had realized it when I did FitLog on the one day out that I kind of had my water messed up the entire peak week. So this time we had it adjusted for 8 liters. Diet was again depletion mode. In case you guys didn't see those macros, I will show you them right now. Those are the macros whenever you see DEP, it's depletion. It's the depletion diet, and those are my macros for that diet. Very, very hard diet. In terms of working out, I had my last quad and calf workout. A very basic workout, not very high in volume, just enough to get some blood pumping into the muscle. I also had a posing session with Desric on the Sunday. And one of the things that I had asked Desric was about stepping up on stage when you're fighting for the overall, if you're supposed to go right in front of the stage or not. I was unsure and I didn't do it for FitLog, but I was wondering for Mimi if, I got the chance to do it again, what should I do? And he told me exactly what I needed to hear at the time. Desric showed me a video of him doing it, and he told me that that's what I was supposed to do. And I'm glad I had that conversation with him because the same scenario popped up, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. I ended up walking up right to the front and just hitting my poses, and I felt like I really was able to own it. So I'm glad I had that conversation with him. Again, great posing instructor, really good posing instructor. Would definitely recommend you guys check him out. And then I still continue my daily check-ins with my coach, sending him videos. And of course, we train at the same gym, and he works there as well. So I see him more or less all the time when I train, and he's able to get a good spot check for me, see if I'm on or off. But Jesse's never really looked at me and said oh, you're way off. I know you're not following the plan type of thing. And I think that partially speaks on genetics, but also the way how dedicated I am in my work ethic. I don't feel good about myself when I'm off diet. My goals mean that much to me. And despite the temporary dopamine that I might get from getting a cheat meal or, going off plan or whatnot, to me, my goals mean more. My goals mean more in the short term and the long term. So to cheat or to go off plan and not tell my coach or whatnot would, to me, be just lying to myself, and I'm not that type of guy. So yeah, check-in sent. I mean, all was good throughout the entire prep. It was mainly just me getting into my own head, and I have a tendency to do that kind of stuff. So kind of learning to be able to deal with it, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Look where you've come from, right? And one of the good things about sending check-in videos and check-in pictures is that if you're doing it and you're sending it at the same spot with the same lighting, you get to compare week over week your progress. And that's the type of stuff that really kept me grounded when I was able to see the actual differences week over week. And even when we were doing daily check-ins every day or so, or you're looking at your body and you're getting leaner, you're seeing lines you've never seen before. That can be really exciting and really motivating, and an indicator to you that, you know, what I am doing is the right things, right? I'm following what I'm supposed to follow, and I'm on the right track. So just keep going. Moments of hesitation, moments of doubt. Oh, I don't believe in myself. I don't think I can beat these guys. I don't know what, like all those little moments, I think, are good. It means that you're really, you know, you're a winner. You have the winner's mindset. You know, you're always constantly looking to do a little bit more than what's being asked, and you want to make sure that every single box is checked. Every single box that's in your control is checked. So, but yeah, that's my little rant on that. 5 days out, same old thing, honestly. Trained chest that day, really lackluster chest day. Exfoliated, cardio was an hour and a half, water was 8 liters, diet was depletion. On day 4, this is the Tuesday. Again, exfoliated, an hour and a half of cardio, water was 8 liters, diet was depletion, and my workout was hams and glutes. Now, day 3, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. My fasted weight on that day was 216.0 pounds. And I think if you check on the last video, I didn't actually have my fasted weight for the day of the show because number 1, I didn't bring my scale to Quebec. And number 2, I never really cared that much about my weight, per se, my fasted weight, because I figured like I'm so under my weight cap. My weight cap is 232 pounds, or at least when they height me correctly, it's 232 pounds. I never really cared about the weight because I knew I was gonna make weight regardless. Like I could have had my bag on and I would have made weight. So it's never something that really, that I paid too much attention to. And it would also have a negative kind of impact on me. I would think I'm not big enough and whatnot, but I never really paid too much attention to it. But then I thought to myself, you know, this would be good data to have, not just for now, but for next year, right? If you plan on doing this for a long term, I'm gonna do this for as long as I can. It's good to have this kind of data, your fasted weight. And, you know, of course, there's people that track their fasted weight and they're meticulous about their weight every single day. And I was kind of like that for Toronto, part 3, stay tuned. But leading up to it, I wasn't really, you know, too big on that. I just cared about how I looked, per se. Not so much the weight, but what does the look like? Fasted weight was 216. Now, the reason we took that weight on that day is because that day is the carb up day. That's the Wednesday, right? Now, the reason why this day is kind of special, to me at least, was this was probably one of the most stressful days of my life. I woke up at 2 in the morning, starving, obviously. I had been depleting, starving, wasn't able to sleep. My breakfast started at 2 in the morning, and I had work at 8. So it was quite a day. To give you guys a quick rundown, despite all of this, I mean, you guys for sure, we can go over it quickly. You know, I exfoliated, my cardio dropped to an hour. I did 30 minutes of bike, 30 minutes of walking. I drank my water. It was a high carb day, which, I didn't even show you guys yet. The macros for my high carb days are here. Same one as FitLog. Nothing's drastic has changed. And I had a back workout. Woke up at 2, 8, wasn't able to go back to sleep, tried to go back to sleep. Well, then I got a little bit of work done on the side. Went to the gym at 5 to train my back, got back home, 8 again, got ready for work, started working. Luckily for me, that day I was actually working from home. And that was the day that I was supposed to get my new motorcycle, which I actually did end up doing. Would not recommend that you guys go out and ride a motorcycle in peak week. My justification for doing such was that it was a high carb day, so my brain was functional. On any of these depletion days, I would not have been able to. I wasn't even riding my motorcycle in these times because I wasn't able to. Like, I would use the term brain dead. That's what I was. Barely able to get everything done, but I got everything I needed to get done without any energy to spare. But yeah, so my bike, I ended up leaving at around 12 to go get my motorcycle. It was in Drummondville, an hour and a half. Huge story with that. As I'm riding the Drummondville, my phone dies. I didn't have any directions. Luckily, I had a battery pack, charged it while I was riding, got there, exchanged my old bike for my new baby, which I'll show you guys pictures right now, if I didn't already show you pictures. But I love this thing. This is a joy provider, and if you are in your 20s and you can afford it, I promise you, I don't want to say get a hyper motorcycle, that's a bad recommendation, just a motorcycle in general. Gives you a feeling that, to me, nothing else can really give. It's, despite it being, you know, it's a hefty thing to buy at this age, I don't regret it one bit. I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Every single time I sit on it, I have a big smile on my face. It makes me happy, and I kind of feel like it's my bike. The feeling I get is just no words. So got the new bike, came back, finished working, actually worked longer because I was working from home. Worked longer, got my work done, or tried my best to get my work done. On the Thursday, I showed up to work completely exhausted. I ended up staying up until 11 on the Wednesday to make sure I got my work done, my cardio done. Burnt, like I was burnt. Even though it's a high carb day, like it's not enough to give me life, so to speak. Like I still kind of feel a little bit dead. Thursday is a medium carb day. Those macros I will show you right here. And on the Thursday was an office day, so I actually went to the office, not with my new bike because my new bike wasn't registered. I didn't have insurance for it, but it is registered now, so but on the Thursday, I actually left work halfway through, around 12-ish 1. I really just wasn't feeling great, wasn't feeling mentally well, and was very, very stressed because I had a task that I had to finish for work, and I didn't know, I put a lot of pressure on myself, okay, to summarize it. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I can get the proper things done. And sometimes that pressure can be overwhelming. I see it as a gift, but sometimes it's kind of like a double-edged sword where I could feel certain things that are that I've artificially created in my mind. And that was one of those things where it wasn't the end of the world if I didn't get that task done that day, but to me it kind of was. So I wanted to make sure that I got it done. I was supposed to get it done on the Wednesday, didn't. On the Thursday, that was the only thing I worked on. After I finished it, I needed me time. I needed to because the amount of stress that thing had caused me was high, self-inflicted stress, obviously, but you know, I like to give my 100% in everything that I do. So if I'm working, I want to give my 100% at work. If I'm in the gym, I want to give my 100% in the gym. If I'm dieting, 100%. Anything that I'm doing, I want to give 100%. I'm in a relationship, I want to give that person my 100%. You know, that's just the way I am, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, honestly. It can have its downfalls for sure, but to me, I don't think I'd be where I am in my life today if I didn't give 100% at everything that I give, or everything that I do, I should say. So, yeah, Thursday was a shoulder workout at home. I kind of have some dumbbells that I use. And again, we're not setting PRs on peak week, right? It's really just to get blood flowing into the muscle properly. And overall, everything was good. Friday, I had off of work again. That was very, very, really good, really solid, made me happy. Cut off for water, again, was at 3 p.m. We had the weigh-ins as well, and I had one out of my 2 tans. And actually, what was different about the time that we peaked this time, apart from all the stress, was this one clean cheat meal. So because the show was in Montreal, my coach actually, in Quebec, he also saw me, but in Montreal, we kind of decided, you know what, let's push things a little bit more. We have the opportunity to test things more. It's one of the beautiful things with when you do multiple shows, and you're not just lined up for that one show. You kind of don't have to aim to carb up conservatively. What I mean by conservatively is just, you know, you don't have to be like, okay, let's not give him as many carbs because we're kind of scared that he might overspill. Instead, we were of the mindset that let's just do one clean cheat meal. So I had one burger from home, and I had about 600 grams of raw potatoes, before they were air fried. And we're like, let's just see how you look, right? Let's just see, because this was normally always a depletion diet. So what we had was a depletion diet plus that burger and those potatoes that I mentioned after he saw me after the tan. Albeit, fun fact, here at this tan, my abs actually were cramping while I was getting tanned. So essentially I just bent down really quickly when I was picking up my clothes to put them on after I dried. And like one of my abs, like I bent down too quickly. One of my abs starts cramping up right away, cramping up, cramping up. One of the ladies was nice enough to kind of like dry it off with she had like a little machine to just help me dry it off. And just, we did it like a small little massage. I had my tan on, right? It's fresh coat of tan. So you don't want to be too touchy and too messy, but I kind of just worked it out a little bit. But when Jesse saw me right after that tan, I told him like, I can't flex hard because like I just came off of having an ab cramp and I was kind of sweating and stressed. So he's like, hey, don't worry about it. We had no workout that day too. But when he saw me, he's like, you're looking kind of flat. I want to see what would happen if we pushed it, you know? And that's what we did. And it turned out, in my opinion, that we had the best look, or one of my best looks leading up to it. I think Toronto was even better. Like every show I did, I think I looked even better and better and better. But leading up to this show, like this was the best I actually ended up looking ever at that point. So, you know, we woke up, I had to rinse off early in the morning. Again, our second coat is really, really, really early in the morning for guys. I don't know if it's like that for girls too, but for us, it's normally, we have between like 3 and 4:30 in the morning to get our second coat of tan done. So not really fun, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. I rinse off, and I'm blessed to have the mother that I have. I wouldn't be here without her. I'm so grateful for her and everything that she's been able to help me with throughout the years. She's really supportive when it comes to bodybuilding, which is really, really nice. And, you know, I want to be able one day to be able to pay her back. So, you know, when I give everything I have for these shows, I hope one day I can make my name big enough to be able to support her like she supported me. But yeah, I'm just going to keep on working, and we'll see what the future has in store for us. So went to go get my second tan done. She actually drove me to the place, which was really nice. And then I had one rice cake with peanut butter and salt, I believe, when I was back home, waiting on Jesse's instructions. Again, for you guys who didn't see the first video, I don't like filling up my stomach with a bunch of heavier stuff, even though my metabolism's fast. With the idea being behind, especially if you're doing classic, if you want to be able to vacuum, suck up your stomach and show that small waist, and me personally, it plays a little psychological role of having something there, because it just makes me feel like I don't know, maybe when I'm doing an abs and thighs, like there might be a little something there. I also had trouble shedding throughout the entire prep. So part of that was also just being scared of putting something that was too heavy in my stomach, and just not feeling well overall, feeling bloated and whatnot. So we kind of addressed that after this, but leading up to this, the whole not shedding thing was kind of worrying me. So we made sure to keep it light. Prejudging happens. I think honestly, this class was like this class C was like, there's some good guys at FitLog. Like I'm not gonna sit there and, because I'll be honest, every show I did was like a better and better and better competition. So I think at FitLog there was some really good people. At Mimi Capes, I think there's one guy in my class, one or two guys in my class that really like stood out to me, like Frank Cass being one of them. His structure looked absolutely like A1. And actually I watched his video and I learned that he weighed less than me, which was actually kind of crazy, because when you look at him structurally speaking, in my opinion, he has a better structure. I think I outsized him a little bit, and I was leaner in certain areas, but if he keeps at it, I think without a doubt, like if I didn't win the overall, it would have been between him and my friend Nick, who I met at this show, who's also another very, very dedicated bodybuilder, a guy that I respect in the industry. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I actually ended up competing against him for the overall. So yeah, it was fun doing that. So we put slightly more emphasis on the arm pump up, because I don't know if you guys see here, but I didn't actually train arms throughout this entire week, right? And I did that on purpose, actually. When I got home and I trained shoulders that day, I was also very, very, very stressed out. I told you guys, right? On the Thursday, I left work halfway through, stressed out of my mind. And I didn't end up training arms at all. But my arms, I'm blessed in the sense that my arms, I believe, are one of my stronger points. So leading up to this show, throughout the entire prep, if you go on my Instagram, you check it out, I train my arms once a week. And that one time a week is maybe 3 exercises. I think my arms is one of those things that I have really, really good genetics, and I trained them a lot when I was younger. So now I kind of just take a step back and try and improve the other body parts that I'm lacking on. But yeah, we did a little bit more of a pump up on the arms, a little bit more curls, a little bit more push downs. And we also had, again, rice cakes with jam and peanut butter. And yeah, right after prejudging, I had a very good feeling that I was gonna do well. I honestly was gonna be very, very happy with myself if I won my class. Like I said, I think Frank is a really, really good competitor. And I'm glad I was able to step next to him on stage. But I'm looking forward to doing it again in the future, because if he puts on the size that, you know, for the room that he has, if he puts on that size, he can be somebody who is very, very, very dangerous overall, not just in our class, I think overall. So, but yeah, so after we come back for finals, I ended up winning my class, which made me really, really happy. But right away, we're again fighting for the overall. And I kind of, in the back of my mind, and I mean, I told him backstage too, I kind of knew that I was going to go up against Nick for the overall. I kind of just had a sense for it. And, you know, I kind of saw a few of the updates that he would post on Instagram leading up to the show, and didn't really, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think I had enough to beat him. I think when I was looking at a lot of the posts on Instagram, he looks absolutely just insane. And, you know, but that's one of the beauties of bodybuilding, is that, you know, you can look good in pictures and stuff like that, but until you're standing next to somebody, you know, that will be the real telltale sign of how you place, how well you do in comparison to other people. So when we stood up, I stood next to Nick, and I remember I was given absolutely, it was Nick, and I believe the guy who won Class A was the Beast Meloche, also very good. Proportionally speaking, very, very good, very solid legs. I think I outconditioned both guys, if I have to be honest with you. But proportionally speaking, I think that for the overall for this, Nick actually had me on size. I think he looked very complete, in my opinion. And I think the deciding factor came down to conditioning. I think I was leaner than he was, and I think that I mean that's the main thing I look at when I'm pointing out to something. I think it was conditioning, and but overall, like I was excited. I remember they switched us back and forth when we were doing the overall. Like first he was in the middle, then I went in the middle, and yeah, overall just a great experience. Up until that point, like that was really the overall that kind of told me, like, yeah, like I love this. Like I love bodybuilding. I love being able to compete against people who give their everything. You look how dedicated this guy is, how serious and strict he is with his stuff. To me, like that's like I've been saying, I made it in my post. I put it in my post where I want to meet like-minded people who are like dedicated to this sport, and it's not a sport that's super popular. So when I do find those people, and when I do have the opportunity to pose next to those people, it's kind of like an honor to me. I never take it for granted, and just feel blessed and fortunate that we are actually able to do it. And I know we're gonna run it back so many times in the future. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, looking forward to what he can bring. So yeah, we competed for the overall. I ended up winning the overall, which was really nice. Got a lot of goodies from that one too, which was awesome. Nice photo shoot at the end too. I'll show you guys some pictures right now. And yeah, that pretty much sums up Mimi Capes, like the peak week for Mimi Capes. If you guys want to see a little bit more, you guys can check my Instagram out. And on my Instagram, I did weekly updates starting at 20 weeks out. Every single week, I would post a minimum of one update on how I was feeling, how I was doing, what I was looking like, the weight, how much I weighed, fasted. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, be sure to check out my Instagram. Post-show, this post-show, in comparison to the last one we did, I actually did have a cheat meal permitted by my coach. And we went to La Belle et la Bœuf, a restaurant here in Montreal, with a bunch of friends. So that was really nice. My coach and a few of my friends, which was really, really cool. I haven't gone out to a restaurant to eat like that in quite some time. So it was nice to get that. And I ended up having a burger and fries, and then one alcoholic beverage. I'm not a big drinker, but you know, I felt like this was the occasion where maybe I could just, you know, have a little bit. And I had a drink called Poison, and I'm not dead. So that was pretty great. A little glass of poison. On the Sunday, I actually also had 2 packs of Pro Bites. Pro Bites for me are just like, I love them so much. They're like my little crutch. They're my little, how can I say, my little snack. And I hadn't had them in a while, so to have them on this Sunday was really just to satisfy my cravings. But right after that Sunday, immediately right back to depletion mode, because then I was getting ready and getting prepared for the biggest show of my life, which was the Toronto Pro Qualifiers, my very first shot at nationals. So I had to get right back into focus, and of course I took the time to celebrate, and I believe I did celebrate you know, the way that I would have wanted to. But I knew for a fact I had to get right back on the diet, right back into focus mode, because the guys at Toronto, it wasn't a joke, it was a step up. You know, not to say guys here were a joke, because they weren't. Not to say guys at FitLog were a joke, because they weren't also. But nationals is it's a different level of competitors. So that will be all in part 3. Hopefully you guys stay tuned for that one. I hope you guys were able to enjoy this and got some value out of it. Again, this is my second big video on YouTube, so if you guys have any comments on how I can get better or improve, by all means, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to address that and write to you guys back. But yeah, so until next time, see you then. Take care.